Hello all, Xyceres here. Today we're doing another base tour. This time it will be Rockdale. This is a brutal large map. It got 40 raid attempts in its lifetime, with 134 kills for a 3.5 kill ratio. There's been a couple social raids after that. It ended up with 47 total accolades for a 1.2 accolade to raid ratio, which I think is fair enough because it didn't really come together super quickly. It isn't until like the last couple prestiges that I feel like the map part of it actually worked. We've got 21 fun, 3 brutal, 14 ingenious, and 9 artistic. I'm not super sure where all the ingeniouses are coming from, but we'll see the map in a sec when we go into it. But first, let's run this thing. Okay, and we're back. That took way too many tries, mostly because I kept forgetting to actually click record. So this is Rockdale. It is a lighthouse on an island, on a rocky island that is that the waves are hitting it currently, and I'm guessing that the tide is rising because if you look over here at this section here, this wave is significantly much higher. The water level in general is significantly much higher than the beach that you are on. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense. Doesn't have to. Like this one at least is funneling down here, so that kind of makes sense. This side, I'm assuming it's just going in here and then rescinding back afterwards. So I built this map in 3 main sections, although it's kind of now 4. So the outer section, we've got all the water and shenanigans with this lighthouse that I've built here. You can also see I've got like a little observation deck thing here, which is where one of the tombs is. And similar thing over here, I've got a little viewing platform so you can actually kind of see what's going on outside and where you are. And the lighthouse itself has light coming out of it because of the corrosion cubes that are inside. Similar to what I did with Olamon. And I think that works quite well if you're trying to build a lighthouse. Now, we have 4 armoured bloodlust, I believe. Yeah, armoured bloodlust hornets. They're all kind of facing this way. You can sneak around, get behind them, and like gun them in the back if you would like. No one ever does. And the 2 plasma sentinels are just to put a little bit more pressure on the player while you're gunning down hornets. So you can't like you can't stand still quite as much. Still a fairly easy encounter, most people can handle that. But I did get a few deaths from it. First tomb is in this section. It's just down here. This was always here. It used to be a little bit more open back when this was a lot more flat, but it didn't make a lot of sense to me for the beach to be flat, so I made it a bit more bumpy. And when it became bumpier, I made this a little bit more hidden, but you can still see the trailblazer as you approach here most of the time. Especially if you're looking for the tombs. These 2 entryway traps are just there to either... I don't want people getting too close to the entryway while they're still fighting the hornets. So if this chaos is going on and you happen to trigger this, they will get you, but they don't generally. This guy here, however, gets people all the time. He's ducked into the back corner here, so that when you approach, even if you are checking this space, you don't actually see him unless you're like real close. So a lot of people still miss him and go through. This is blind corner here. You can't see this. It's easy to fall in. It's also a direct path for one of the 2 ways up. So it kind of makes sense. It doesn't catch that many people, but the combination of this, and this, it gets people occasionally. And it just overall increases the danger level of this whole area. These here are just to threaten the player as they're trying to come around this corner, because once you're to about here, you can clear this out fairly easily, but I want to try and force you to lock up a few of your bolts if you're using the Bolt Lancer, which most people are. So yeah, I've got like this one here hidden behind the wall with Eagle Eye, so it looks, because it has Eagle Eye, it can activate to about here, and you're always going to pass something like this. And Eagle Eye catches people off guard a lot more often than any other Hollow Cube mod, honestly. That guy there ducks into there because I don't want him doing the same thing that this guy does, where he rushes out straight away. So if the person just jumps up, sees them, and then just decides to back up to here, they can easily deal with both of them. I don't want that to happen, so I hide him in the hollow cube so that you have to trigger the hollow cube first. He's still a flame walker. These are both flame walker to armored. So if you happen to trigger any of these incinerators, they will still survive. This here is alternating incinerator and iron claw with just a quick impaler above them, just in case. Just in case the incinerator's already been destroyed. The aim is to get them with the incinerator, or to pull them back into the incinerator after it's already gone off, using the fact that the iron claws don't have to shoot perfectly forward. And this incinerator is fairly well hidden by this hollow cube because of the angle here, but so is this iron claw, so you don't really see this pattern, so you might take these two out, jump here, and then all of a sudden you got to deal with these two, which can be a problem. This here is just a fairly dangerous little setup because it's throwing bombs as you approach here, but also if you deal with this, it's going to explode, which is dangerous to about here, and this can pull you back into bombs sometimes. Not great on it for the raider in any respect, and these three traps and this guard are all just here to make this whole area more dangerous to cross. And a guard is used instead of a third incinerator because this whole run is all corrosion cubes, so they won't be able to... They won't be running down here. You're not going to be staying in this area. Though it does give you this spot as a safe area, as opposed to just being in here. This here is for catch people that try running through sometimes, or tunnel visioning on, hey, I finished the difficult area. These second wave traps. This one here, I think doesn't really work because this range here is too short. But it has caught one or two people, so I kind of keep it there just in case. This one here, I don't know why I added this. I don't know why it's here. It has never really kept someone in this space. It's possible that this is supposed to be another second wave piston to force people to stay in here, but it never really does anything. It's probably just a waste of capacity that I just haven't got around to fixing. This is your standard incinerator corridor with pistons. It's a perfect length for it. It's only dangerous coming from this way, so you have to put it on second wave, and that's just what I did. This here is just because you got like this perfect line going this way. It's hard to see it. It's easy to see it if you're coming from the entrance, but really hard to see when you're coming from the exit, so it just made sense to be a second wave. There used to be a hollow cube here. It got taken out because there was a bug with hollow cubes that were directly touching traps that caused the trap to activate before the second wave. That bug is fixed, mostly because at the time you could use it to trigger bombs and incinerators through the second wave hollow cube, but during first wave, and they would actually go through it, which, yeah, not ideal. This is the setup that didn't really... This room... Yeah, this hallway didn't really exist before this was going through the active queue. Because I had, I think, this here, and this hallway This hallway was here, it just wasn't really somewhere I was trapping. I just had, I think, just this. But I decided to add, you know, bomb, impaler, cannon back with standing on an impaler so that if you go to get your ammo you might die. You know, relatively dangerous. Not expecting a ton of kills with any of this. This does drop things back, so if the player's more cautious, they're more likely to get killed by this. Speedrunning, you probably just run straight through this, but if you run straight through this, you'll get caught by something up there, I'm sure. Second tomb is in here, and this is the observation deck that I was talking about before. You can see out over the wasteland. I really like that view too, where you can actually see a tower off in the distance. And consistent messaging, I'm still using the Trailblazer to try and show people where these tombs are. Up here, this here is to catch people if they go back. That guy there is more to catch people if they go forward, because I believe he has the... oh no, he has Deadman Switch. Thought I had the faster firing on him. Yeah, I don't know why he has Deadman Switch. But he's also a bit of a distraction, because as you're going up, you'll probably shoot him, but you will often miss this. A lot of people miss this one. And it can catch people as they go up, or occasionally it'll catch people as they back out, because they've just triggered this, and are trying to get out of that so they can hide somewhere else. This is set up to bounce primarily down. It bounces a few off of this corner and this corner, and they end up all going down this way. This doesn't actually destroy anything up here, pretty much, which is very nice. Kind of what I want, so that I'm coming in here as an entrance. This bomb is really dangerous for the people that hang back. Pretty much the case for most bombs, unless you set up a good splitter to send them forward. This here's just another threat for the room, but between the two traps here that make it actually hard to jump up to here, as well as the two guards that are just chilling, you catch quite a few people in this room. There's obviously no second wave stuff, you just grab this and you go, and we've already talked about all the second wave traps. So let's just quickly go outside and I'll talk about the water. Yeah, so once I realised that that looks like a what, that was... so the gem mat's quite high. The gem mat's here-ish. Just floating in the sky. I had this really chaotic bedrock all over the map. There's no real underground areas. It all seems to be like sea level or up. I was like, I built a tower for the gem mat to go in, and I was like, ah, okay, this kind of looks like an island with a lighthouse off on the edge. So I was like, okay, let's put some water down. Got a bunch of the grey stone blocks, and then put a bunch of these blue... ooh, I missed one. Put a bunch of the blue decal just all over it. And then you'll notice that the tips of the waves, when the waves are bigger, they're actually the blue metal instead. And the reason for this is it's a color match for the blue. I could probably paint this blue just so that it's more consistent. But yeah, it's a pretty good color match for the blue decal. And the problem was I wanted to have a white tip to the wave, so it looks like the wave has some foam at the end of it. Obviously it's not perfect, because the white decal that we do have that is on the edge also has one on the opposite side, and none of the others actually go to the edge. But I noticed that when I was looking at it from a distance, I didn't really notice the one up the top. I always noticed the one at the tip, which was perfect for my intentions. And yeah, they're consistent everywhere. If they've got a big wave, they've got these white tips. This one here is a little bit different because it's bigger than the rest of them, so it's actually significantly wider and has corner blocks as well as the tips. This one here, I believe this is mostly bedrock. So I'm just trying to hide some bedrock with this. This was the one spot where the bedrock didn't really want to play nice with my plans. And yeah, so I just painted it all this same blue color and tried to make it look like a wave, like another wave. It's a bit of a shame because I probably should have built up the sand to make it look higher so that I don't run into the issue that I mentioned earlier where it kind of looks like the beach should be completely underwater, but I'm just kind of picturing that as like high tide. Anyway, this is Rockdale, my lighthouse map, which I am quite happy with how it looks, not so happy with how it plays. I think it's probably a little bit too easy, even though this room it can be quite difficult. There's not really anything beyond that though. And it's not super difficult at any points. It will, this map will remain up on social for the foreseeable future. If it's off social, I'll take it out, I'll make sure I update the description. But for now, where did that break? That's weird. I'm gonna fix that quickly. I don't know how that was broken, because I didn't change anything around them. Oh, it's fixed now. Yeah, so this will remain on social for the foreseeable future, and if the description's updated, the description will be updated if it's ever taken off social. But if you'd like to play it, you can. And next time we'll be talking about Xyceres, which is a normal difficulty map that I made, which is a bit of fun, honestly. And I shall see you then.